don't ever let other people's expectations become your own. You're you, and you're on your own path.
Paul, when you were getting recruited, you got a chance to go play at SC, which is obviously where you ended up going. But from what I understand, when you first told people at your school, at your high school, that you were going to SC, there was a kid who didn't think it was such a good idea. What happened?
Most people were supportive and thought it was really cool, right? USC was the powerhouse in football. It's a great school, et cetera, et cetera. But there was this one individual who was a really good athlete, not in football, started questioning me, started asking me, like, why do you want to go to USC? So I want to go to the Rose Bowl. I mean, and
not a bad place to play football.
Seems like there's so many,
Right,
people in Southern California that have a degree from USC. So, and so I started answering him, and then he continued. It's like, well, don't you want to play? Yeah.
He thought you'd go there and sit on the bench for 4 years.
Because SC was like this place up here,
Right.
that, no one could get to SC and no one could play there. And, even if you had an offer, you're never going to see the field, and it's way more fun to see the field. And I did, there was Cal Berkeley, New Mexico, University of New Mexico, and Santa Clara.
Huh.
Those are my other choices, right?
Yeah.
So
and you're going to probably play at one of those other schools for sure, almost, right?
I would think so.
Yeah, you would think, right? But SC,
But I dreamed of going to SC.
Right.
I followed them when I was a youngster, and I loved the school.
And there are people who would have let themselves get talked out of what they really wanted to do because other people didn't have that expectation, the same expectation that they had. Yeah,
because here's a guy who had, he had a substantial position in the school. So, you would value his opinion.
Right.
So that's when it gets hard. You've got somebody that you think they really understand, they get it,
right.
And all of a sudden they're telling you really shouldn't do that. I don't think that's a good idea. You can fall into that trap and believe them.
Right.
I was very resolute in what I wanted to do. Hey, I knew I would go in there and pour my heart and soul into it.
Yeah.
And whatever happened was going to happen.
Right.
Maybe I wouldn't play. But I just felt that I could outwork anybody, and I wanted it more than the next guy, and I'd figure out a way. That's kind of what my mindset was.
Right.
And even if it didn't work, hey, I got a degree at a fantastic university.
And you knew you tried to go for the pinnacle rather than go somewhere else just because you didn't have the courage to give it a shot.
That's correct. And
I think a lot of kids, the challenges they have is they want to fit in, right? And so because they want to fit in, this idea of standing out and being a higher achiever is something that scares them because now all eyes are on them, right? Rather than just being out there with the pack, they let that expectation or that lack of imagination that their fellow students have affect them. Like, oh, you can't do that. That's too big of a dream. And then they let themselves get pulled back.
Because they don't believe it. They don't believe it within themselves,
right.
That it's right for them, right? So there's a little bit of maybe yes, maybe no, but this is what I'm going to do.
Yeah. And, being young, there's the peer pressure thing, right? Yes. So when you're young and your peers are all acting in a certain way or have a certain belief or certain whatever, you kind of tend to adopt that. It's very natural for young people. There's a great story that an educator once told me. When he was a principal at an inner city high school, he had a rule that everybody had to bring their books home. And the reason he had that rule wasn't because he expected the kids to go home and read all their books. He had that rule as cover for the kids who did want to go home and take their books with them and do their homework and study and all that. Because in that school, it wasn't considered cool to be a student. So this expectation that kids had for each other at that school was, oh, we're not going to go to college. We're not going to go on beyond this. And they held each other back with that expectation.
Because it made them feel better.
Because it made them feel better. And it's all they knew. There's a lack of understanding.
So it's those people that express those opinions of, hey, you should do this, you should do that, you have to be careful because it's generally their insecurities about themselves, their own issues that they're projecting onto you. Right? And so they have no sense of who you are really. But that's why they say what they say and do what they do, is because of those insecurities and those issues that they have in their life.
And you know me, I'm kind of a pragmatic person who thinks about things.
Very pragmatic.
A little pragmatic, too pragmatic sometimes. And you know, my wife and I love watching American Idol. And this past season, there was a kid on the show who always wanted to be a musician, always wanted to pursue a career in music. And his parents would always pull him back because their pragmatic side felt like, that's not really something that has a promising career to it. And
too hard to get to, too difficult,
too few
challenging.
slots.
Yes.
You're not, you know, you're probably going to fail. Then what?
Right.
You know, all reasonable, pragmatic ways to look at it. But these are really good people, by the way. His parents are good people who were harming their kid because they were squashing his dream in their pragmatism. And when he finally had his breakthrough moment on the show, he literally on stage burst into tears because he had finally had this release of like, wow, I can do this. All these things I've dreamed for so many years that I've been told that I can't do, I can do. And you just watch this young guy blossom. And it was the most amazing thing. Like, you know, literally brought tears to, I think, everybody's eyes in the audience, the judges, us at home, because you're watching somebody reach their own personal full potential and not be held back. And to his parents' credit, they really, at that point, it resonated for them too. They got it. They understood maybe that they had made a mistake and that they shouldn't have been pulling him back and not lowering his expectations for him and letting him sing and letting him, when I say sing, I don't mean literally, I mean figuratively, sing, dance, fly. You know, they were pulling him back out of fear that he would fail.
The worst thing we can do in life is to take somebody off their own path, right? Is redirect them. And it's coming from our perspective. So, you know, and not really listening and hearing as a parent, for instance, what you're talking about, what the dream is and where their talents are, and really understanding they really want to do this. They really want to, if he went through life and became a CPA and never got a chance to sing, he would be a very unhappy person the rest of his life.
Yeah. Yeah.
He would. I mean, so you really have to let people allow them to live the life and to get on their path, be on their path, live the life that they're meant to live, right? And maybe it doesn't work out, maybe there's a pivot here or there, but putting boundaries on somebody or putting your own perspective onto another is the worst thing in the world that we could do.
Yeah. I have a buddy whose son graduated from a 4-year university, and it was always bothering him that he didn't go try and play baseball. So he actually re-enrolled into community college just so he could play baseball. Now, from the outside world, be like, that is just nutty. Like, you graduated from a 4-year, you're going back to community college to play baseball. You haven't played baseball since high school. But to the kid's credit, he said, you know what, I really want this and I want to give it a rip. I want to go for it. And to the parents' credit, they were 100% supportive and said, this is what you want, give it a try. Because the worst thing that could happen is in the rest of his life, if he didn't try, it would always been that pebble in his shoe of like, I wanted this and I never gave it a shot. So how it works out, who knows? But even if it doesn't work out and baseball doesn't work out for this kid, at least he knew that he gave it a shot. And I think, again, back to what you said about holding your other people's expectations back, that's the worst thing you can do is at least let them go for it. Let them give it all they can. And if it doesn't work out, there's peace in that. There's peace in knowing you tried and didn't make it work. There's no peace in not trying.
And it takes courage to pursue our own dreams.
A lot of courage. Because you can easily, again, back to my...
Get sidetracked by somebody that has an opinion or whatever.
Right.
Somebody you respect, a friend of yours.
Or your peers, right? Like, what? You're going back and playing baseball? Like,
right.
yeah, what are you doing? You're putting yourself out there. And
you're risking a lot.
Yeah, but ultimately, if you really feel good about what you're doing, you're risking nothing. Because all you're really doing is you're living the life that you should be living.
There's no need to please anybody but yourself. Right? I mean, you listen, you take in information, especially from your parents and people you respect, you take it in, but only you know what you want out of this life. Right. And go for every aspect of what you want. You can do it. I mean, it's there for the taking. Dream big, have the courage to fail, because you will. Okay, have the audacity to get embarrassed for making a decision that other people think is silly or stupid. But it's up to you to live the path that you were designed to live. You have to go for it in life, and it doesn't matter what it is. It doesn't have to be. It doesn't matter. It's up to you. It's what matters to you. Because if you live the path you were designed to live, you're going to have incredible life. You're going to be happy. You're going to have immense joy, and then it's going to be a ripple effect throughout society, throughout your family, and throughout others in your community. That's going to resonate, and other people, you could be an inspiration to other people, right? That could rise them out of the gutter. They can lift them to new heights that they never thought imaginable.
Yeah, 100%. The flip side of what we're talking about is the people who hoist their expectations on their kids. And now we were talking about pulling people back. There's also the parent who, especially like in high achieving schools, you're gonna go to an Ivy League school, or you see it in youth sports a lot. I think it's an epidemic in youth sports. Like you're gonna go and get a scholarship, you're gonna go and do this, you're gonna do that. And you see kids out there who are playing almost like robots because they've been pushed out onto the field by their parents, or in school, pushed out onto that academic stage by their parents, and they're asking them
overdoing it, overtraining.
Yeah, or that's in sports, or in academics, to become a lawyer, become a doctor, this is what you're gonna do. This is what we as a family expect of you. And you're like, well, that's not what I expected myself. So it's just about finding that true authentic self that is really at the end of the day what we all need to do. I still to this point need to in my life need to do. Like we're all working on, we're all
constantly working on, but it could be devastating to somebody that let's say the student gets into Harvard, and it's the wrong fit. And they're not happy. That's not the end of your life. That's just the beginning. You're just getting started,
it's just one step.
It's just one step. It's not the end of the line, right? So you get in, and so that's it. It's like, I made it, I did it. No, it's...
You've got to get up and go to school on Monday morning, right?
What do you do from there?
You
gotta get, and if they're in the wrong place, it's the wrong fit. Really listen to your own heart. We all know where our fit is and what we want. And it can be intuitive. It can come from a place you're not even aware of where it comes from. It could be a stranger that says something to you that you just pick up on, but you pay attention to it. And it's meaningful to you. But that's really all the answers come from within, and we all need to listen to where our place should be.
Yeah. So I always tell people it's not where you start, it's where you end, right? So and the way you get there is one step at a time, and as you've actually taught me, let's enjoy every step of that way. Let's not project ourselves into the future. Let's just go, hey, this is what I love, so this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to enjoy today because I enjoy what I'm doing today, rather than doing what I think I should be doing, what other people expect me to do, how I fit in. All these things are what make people so unhappy in this world. Hey, Paul.
Yeah.
This is the part where we're supposed to tell people to like and subscribe to our YouTube channel.
Okay, will you please do that then? I mean, if you enjoy it, please do.
And if you don't, do it anyways, because we need your help.
We do.
Also, we have a website called GameChangeNation.com. Just go there and subscribe and you'll get tons of free content.
And what we're really trying to do is create a community of people that love sports. And the great lessons that we learn from sports, but we want to hear from you.
We do. So we're going to have a bunch of social media pages, from TikTok to Instagram to Twitter to Facebook. Instagram, I probably already said all of them. Please join them and tell us your stories. We'd love to hear from you. Oh, and we wrote a book. Forgot about that. The book is called Through the Tunnel. It's available on Amazon now. If you go straight down here to this link that you can see below us, you will be able to purchase it. We'd love it if you could do it.
Thank you very much.
Thanks, guys.